Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're doing something a bit different here today. We're doing a react video to some of the comments that have been left in the last two videos, which we've been addressing National Socialism. Obviously, it's a really supercharged topic, and I appreciate the comments because obviously I did a lot of work, a lot of time I put into actually putting those together for you. Yeah, let's dive into some of the comments and see what you guys had to say. So the first comment here from Foolishly Ludicrous. I think you may have an overly optimistic viewpoint of racists here. In general, their opinions are not shaped by a lack of understanding, but by a starting point of white people are better than other races. If you show them that white people are no better or worse than any other group, it most likely won't matter because logic wasn't what let them decide white people are better. Okay, straight off the bat, yeah, I probably am assuming the best about them. While I'm always diving in and trying to get into the core of human nature, of the design of how human beings work, the conscious and unconscious, the repressions, the shadows, the ego, my nature is to generally see the best in people. That's just kind of part of who I am as well. And so maybe I'm giving a little bit too much credit there. You're going on to say here, I agree that alleviating the issue of modern society can help people from falling down such a hole. Yep, that's the point. That's the whole thing. We're trying to open up dialogue and understanding. Um, and yeah, it's not going to fix the whole problem, but it's certainly going to go a couple of steps towards fixing the problem because that's how these problems kind of start, right? It's kind of when we suppress, deny, and hide these beliefs, these thoughts, these viewpoints from each other, and then it starts to get dark. It starts to suppress, it starts to build up, and then it comes out in a really dangerous way. So thanks, Foolishly Ludicrous. Really appreciate your comment there. Yeah, we got one from Maddie on Shift. That Jung quote hits hard. Had to pause for a moment to let it sink in. Yeah, Jung does hit hard. He kind of bypasses the mind and goes straight to the soul. I'm glad that resonated for you. And if you stopped and paused, that means that you've just started that process of the shadow integration. So I wish you the best of luck with that. And I get another comment here from RX Side Project. And this was very interesting. You capture it pretty well. I've been interested to see more of what you have to say on the matter. Perhaps you can even change my mind since I'm less dogmatic than the others. Okay, thank you for first off for being really open and honest. This is what I'm talking about, just opening up dialogue. Um, so you're obviously part of what you might term as the National Socialists or the far right, or maybe you've got your reasons. We're trying to explore and open up your voice as well as everyone else's so that we can speak without fear. And maybe, if you're open to changing your mind a little bit, that might be really nice because maybe you'd make your life more conducive with the general societies. Maybe there are some positive aspects that you missed because of the way that you've been thinking in the past about this. So you're going on to say here, I've always said a lot about this sentiment could have been avoided if we were given a chance to a right to voice our concerns. Yeah, exactly. But we weren't, and now we froth at the mouth to claim what we see as our birthright. Yep, that's kind of how it works. And this is how it works with our own innate psychology as well. If you have a thought or a belief and you just keep denying it to yourself and keep hiding it, and you don't, every time it tries to come up into your thoughts and you suppress it and you hide it, it's there getting uglier and darker and more violent over time. And eventually it will just lash out. It'll do something. Maybe you say something really horrible and hurtful to someone. Maybe you hit someone. Maybe you make yourself crash your own car. These sort of things kind of just manifest out of us, and it gets really dangerous. So yeah, I'm glad that this resonated with you. And yeah, if you're saying here that you want to open up a dialogue, awesome. I would love to hear from you. And I tell you what, if you go ahead and if you make an honest video about this, I'll tag this in the comments down below. Just let me know. And let's have people see things from your perspective, without judgment, without piling on and attacking you, because we're all humans. We're all trying to figure this out, and I don't think attacking each other is really getting us very far in general. Yeah, thanks, RX Side Project. We got another one here from Max. The ironic part is that they critique a society and a system that indirectly endorses them, and they protect through their ideology. They support and defend the very capitalism that does the harm they claim to be against. Absolutely, Erdy Max. It is extremely ironic that that is happening. Um, of course, they don't want to keep it that way, but they're certainly enjoying the luxuries that come with capitalism. We've never had it so good as a people, and we have to sometimes remind ourselves of that, even though right now the West is sort of in the starting point of collapse. And so we're seeing this huge shift away, like housing prices, food costs, social decay. It's all happening around us. And we're looking down into this abyss right now, going, right, well, maybe if we turn to an extreme ideology, that will save us from the abyss. But sometimes these things just happen. If you look at how powerful the Roman Empire was, even that collapsed at some point. And it's going to change things. This continues, it will change things for sure. Yeah, so raging against the system isn't going to really help us too much at the moment. We need to get really proactive. We need to get really into the kind of the community spirit, helping each other out, lifting each other up. And I think this is something that actually NatSoc does have, right? Believe it or not, is that they're thinking in terms of helping each other, and we all need to be thinking like that as a culture, as a society. So yeah, thank you again, Ernie Max, for the comment. Next, we have Mitchell Alexandra. It's one thing to consume, it's another thing to truly attempt to refute and explain why the lie and propaganda was made. That's how you dispel propaganda. Absolutely. And that's what these videos are really trying to do as well. Um, Rather than just being reactive. And this is like watching in real time, like a sports, like a football match. You got your left wing, you got your right wing, and oh, here comes the fullback, and they're attacking, and all these guys are now attacking, and it's this huge big battle of left and right. Everyone's just trying to dominate. I think I've actually thought about this a lot. I think the reason why a lot of this actually happens is because we don't most people don't seem to have the capacity to see things from a higher perspective, a higher lens that we're all human, we're all in the same team, and we're just trying to work things out. We don't start from that point. Because you don't have that higher perspective, what we're really trying to do is fight each other as hard as possible and let the winning team decide what is true so that we can have some sort of certainty. And so it's like, okay, I'll even join the fight, the one I think I want to win, just like a sports team. And we're going to fight as hard as we can. And if we win, then I'll have certainty. I'll know what's true because we won. Maybe that's not the best way to do things. We've been doing that for a couple of tens of thousands of years, and it hasn't really gone anywhere. We're still violent. We're still obnoxious. We're still fighting each other, and it's still causing a lot of suffering in the world. Maybe we can transcend. So anyway, thanks again for your comment, Mitchell Alexandra. We are looking to dispel propaganda, and we do that by understanding the human needs and desires underneath everything that's on the surface. Yeah, we got a last comment here. This was actually off Facebook. And this was very interesting. I watched this video. I won't be able to play it here on YouTube. But it's basically a man was recounting exactly what Mary is saying here. That, and we may have a breaking story here because this is a side that we haven't been told by obviously the mainstream media. God bless them. We can always trust mainstream media, guys. But what happened, apparently, according to this, is that Antifa were actually causing problems at the Indigenous camp, walking through ceremonial ashes and disrespecting them. And and the National Socialist guys came to their rescue and actually beat them up. Yeah, so that's a sided story I hadn't heard before. If any more information is out there about that, I'd be very interested to hear it. Um, so to Mary, obviously, the National Socialist guys are heroes here. Obviously, they were standing up for some elders, so that's obviously good. We want to look after our elderly, no matter what our political alignments are. Or obviously, you got National Socialists here as well, sticking up for Indigenous elders. So that's something positive. I appreciate them for that. That's cool. So you're saying here as well, give me neo-Nazis or National Socialists who want to get rid of the greedy banks over grandma bashers. And you're mistaking me here for someone who actually supports Antifa. Obviously, you haven't been watching my channel for very long, or you haven't watched my videos all the way through. I don't support the far right at all. I see the far left and the same far right as kind of they are synonymous as the same issue that we have as a people. We're trying to give ourselves into political ideology. And by investing really heavily into political ideology, we escape the burden of taking responsibility ourselves, our own moral responsibility for our own standing, our own viewpoints, and being vulnerable with facing chaos as an individual, making up your own mind about things. That's not easy. It takes courage. It takes responsibility. But I do encourage it. Sometimes it means holding paradoxes, and I'm going to get into the paradoxes later because this is going to change people's views on things. I think you can hold two opposing viewpoints, two political viewpoints that are opposing but both have value. You can hold them both without trying to resolve them. You can see how this is good in this situation and this is good in this situation. And in both situations, sometimes they're both good or both bad, you know. But you don't have to toss away knowledge or perspectives just because you want to be in one camp or the other. It's better to be uncomfortable. Anyway, thank you, Mary, for that point of view. I'm always really sad to see elders being attacked, especially our Indigenous peoples. I'm not happy with that either, and I'm not happy when the Indigenous people attack other people either. That it goes both ways. Violence is always just it's a last resort, and it shows that something has intrinsically failed, whether it's intellectually or emotionally or ideologically. It's part of our nature to attack. It's part of our nature to be violent, sure. But this is when we were in tiny territories, yeah, where we were living in forests. We were battling to survive because there wasn't necessarily enough food. Maybe it was a drought, there wasn't enough food. How do we get food? We attack each other. It was a response to the environment, but we live in an environment of abundance. It's kind of unnatural for us now to go out there and get really tribal and attack each other that as much as we do at least. Anyway, guys, that's my thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. That's been some reacts to some of the comments left. If you would like to hear a video about a particular topic, let me know. I love addressing social shadows. I love going deeper into what's happening behind it, and even bringing some of the people from those groups up to the surface to start a dialogue. And that's always a good thing because even if you hate each other, even if you disagree, communication actually facilitates an exchange and gives way sometimes to third ideas. And that's where we really make big changes in society. So, till next time, I'll see you later.